Hi everyone and welcome back to Online Storytime. I am not the dragon from George and the Dragon. I am in fact still Mr. F, but with a slightly different onesie on today. It's lovely to see you all again. Yesterday we enjoyed reading chapters 1 to 3 of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl, and I'm delighted to say that we're going to continue reading this today, starting at chapter number 4. So make yourselves comfortable, get your books ready, and please do read along. Chapter number 4, The Secret Workers. The next evening, Grandpa Joe went on with his story. "You see, Charlie," he said, "not so very long ago, there used to be thousands of people working in Mr. Willy Wonka's factory. Then one day, all of a sudden, Mr. Wonka had to ask every single one of them to leave, to go home, to never come back." "But why?" asked Charlie. "Why?" "Because of spies." Spies? Yes, all the other chocolate makers, you see, had begun to grow jealous of the wonderful sweets that Mr. Wonka was making, and they started sending in spies to steal his secret recipes. The spies took jobs in the Wonka factory, pretending that they were ordinary workers, and whilst they were there, each one of them found out exactly how a certain special thing was made. "And did they go back to their own factories and tell?" asked Charlie. "Well, they must have," answered Grandpa Joe, "because soon after that, Fickle Grubber's factory started making an ice cream that would never melt, even in the hottest sun. Then Mr. Prodnose's factory came out with a chewing gum that never lost its flavour, however much you chewed. And then Mr. Slugworth's factory began making sugar balloons that you could blow up to a huge size before you popped them with a pin and gobble them up." And so on and so on. And Mr. Willy Wonka tore his beard and shouted, "This is terrible! I shall be ruined! There are spies everywhere. I shall have to close down the factory." Sad times. "But he didn't do that," Charlie said. "Oh yes, he did. He told all the workers that he was sorry, but they would have to go home. Then he shut the main gates and fastened them with a chain. And suddenly, Wonka's giant chocolate factory became silent and deserted. The chimney stopped smoking, the machine stopped whirring, and from then on not a single chocolate or sweet was made. Not a soul went in and not a soul went out. And even Mr. Willy Wonka himself disappeared completely. Months and months went on. Grandpa Joe went on, but still the factory remained closed. And everybody said, "Oh, poor old Mr. Wonka. He was so nice and he made such marvellous things. But he's finished now. It's all over." Then something astonishing happened. One day, early in the morning, thin columns of white smoke were seen to be coming out of the tops of the tall chimneys of the factory. People in the town stopped and stared. "What's going on?" they cried. "What's going on? Someone's lit the furnaces. Mr. Wonka must be opening up again." They ran to the gates, expecting to see him. But there was nobody there. The great iron gates were still locked and chained as securely as ever, and Mr. Wonka was nowhere to be seen. "But the factory is working," the people shouted. "Listen, You can hear the machines. They're all whirring again. And you can smell, that smell of melting chocolate in the air. Grandpa Joe leaned forward and laid a long bony finger on Charlie's knee. And he said softly, but most mysterious of all, were the shadows in the windows of the factory. The people standing on the street outside could see small, dark shadows moving about behind the frosted glass windows. Shadows of whom? Said Charlie quickly. That's exactly what everybody else wanted to know. The place is full of workers, the people shouted, but nobody's gone in. The gates are locked. It's crazy. Nobody ever comes out either. But there was no question at all, said Grandpa Joe, that the factory was running. And it's gone on running ever since, for these last 10 years. What's more, the chocolates and sweets it's been turning out have become more fantastic and delicious than ever before. And of course now, when Mr. Wonka invents some new and wonderful sweets, neither Mr. Fickle Grubber, nor Mr. Prudnose, nor Mr. Slugworth, nor anybody else is able to copy him. No spies can go into the factory to find out how it is made. But Grandpa, who, cried Charlie, who is Mr. Wonka using to do all this work in the factory? Nobody knows, Charlie. But that's absurd. Hasn't someone asked Mr. Wonka? Nobody sees him anymore. He never comes out. The only thing that come out of that place are chocolates and sweets. They come out through a special trapdoor in the wall, all packed and addressed, and they are picked up every day by post office trucks. But Grandpa, what sort of people are they that work in there? My dear boy, said Grandpa Joe, that is one of the great mysteries of the chocolate making world. We know only one thing about them. They are very small. The faint shadows that sometimes appear behind the windows, especially late at night when the lights are on, are those of tiny people. People no taller than my knee. They aren't any such people, Charlie said. Just then, Mr. Bucket, Charlie's father, came into the room. He was home from the toothpaste factory, and he was waving an evening newspaper rather excitedly. Adverb. Have you heard the news? Have you heard the news? He cried. Oh, wow, have you heard the news? He held up the paper so that they could see the huge headline. The headline said in big capital letters, Wonka Factory to be opened at last to lucky few. Chapter 5. The Golden Tickets. You mean people are actually going to be allowed to go inside the factory? Cried Grandpa Joe. Read us what it says. Quickly, read us what it says. All right, said Mr. Bucket, smoothing out the newspaper. Listen carefully. Mr. Willy Wonka, the confectionery genius, whom nobody has seen for the last 10 years, sent out the following notice today. I, Willy Wonka, have decided to allow 5 children, just 5, mind you, and no more, to visit my factory this year. These lucky 5 will be shown around personally by me, and they will be allowed to see all the secrets and the magic of my factory. Then, at the end of the tour, As a special present, all of them will be given enough chocolates and sweets to last them for the rest of their lives. Oh, incredible! So watch out for the golden tickets. 5 golden tickets have been printed on golden paper, and these 5 golden tickets have been hidden underneath the ordinary wrapping paper of 5 ordinary bars of chocolate. These 5 chocolate bars may be anywhere. In any shop, in any street, in any town, in any country in the world, upon any counter where Wonka sweets are sold. And the 5 lucky finders of these 5 golden tickets are the only ones who will be allowed to visit my factory and see what it's like now inside. Good luck to you all, and see what it's like. And happy hunting, signed from Mr. Willy Wonka. The man's dotty, muttered Grandma Josephine. He's brilliant, cried Grandpa Joe. He's a magician! Exclamation mark. Just imagine what will happen now. The whole world will be searching for those golden tickets. Everyone will be buying Wonka's chocolate bars in the hope of finding one. He'll sell more than ever before. Oh, how exciting it would be to find one. And all of the chocolate and sweets that you could eat for the rest of your life. For free, said Grandpa George. Just imagine that. They'd have to deliver them in a truck, said Grandma Georgina. It make me quite ill to think of it, said Grandma Josephine. Nonsense, cried Grandpa Joe. Wouldn't it be something, Charlie, to open a bar of chocolate and see a golden ticket glistening inside? It certainly would, Grandpa, but there isn't a hope, Charlie said sadly, adverb. I only get 1 bar a year. Do you remember that from the earlier chapters? You never know, darling, said Grandma Georgina. It's your birthday next week. You have as much chance as anybody else. I'm afraid that simply isn't true, said Grandpa George. The kids who are going to find the golden tickets are the ones who can afford to buy bars of chocolate every day. Our Charlie gets only 1 a year. There isn't a hope. And that's the end of chapter 5. I'll be back shortly to read you chapter number 6. I can only speak for myself, but I am loving this. This book is absolutely brilliant. See you shortly. Bye.